Docker is used by millions of people around the globe to build, share, and run any applications anywhere. Most of the professional developers these days use Docker every day at work. In this video, we will discuss what is Docker, what is the use and applications of Docker, and how you can get started with Docker. What is Docker? Docker is an open source platform which allows you to package all the necessary tools, softwares, and the libraries so that the deploying of the application becomes easy and you can significantly reduce the delay between writing code and running it in production. To understand it more clearly, let's take the example of a Node.js application. A developer writes a code in Node and performs all the testing in their local machine, and the same application is needed to be set up on the server too. But for the application to behave as how it's working on the developer's machine, we need to install some Node.js dependent packages on the server as well. Doing the same in one server is easy, but just think about what if you have tens to hundreds of Node.js applications. Installing the same packages on each of the server would be very difficult, and just think about what if the server crashes. All these issues can be easily handled using Docker. You can bundle all the dependent packages in a Docker image and you can use it as many times as required. Also, Docker containers do not have an operating system, so they hardly take a few milliseconds to boot up, whereas considering the case of a server, they'll have a baseline operating system and the boot time varies between 5 to 10 minutes depending on the operating system. Docker images. An image is a read-only template with instructions for creating a Docker container. Often, an image is based out of another image with some additional customizations on top of it. You can create your own image, or you can use the images created by the others and publish it to a registry for further use. To build your own image, you can create a Docker file with some simple syntax. Docker containers. Docker provides the ability to package and run an application in an isolated environment called a container. A container is a runnable instance of an image. You can either create, start, stop, move, or delete a container. Containers are lightweight and contain everything that you need to run the application. When a container is removed, any changes to its state that are not stored in persistent storage disappears. The Docker daemon. Another important component is the Docker daemon, or commonly known as the Dockerd, which listens for the Docker API requests and manages the Docker objects such as the images, containers, networks, and volumes. A Docker daemon can also communicate with the other daemons to manage the Docker services. The Docker architecture. Docker uses a client-server architecture. The Docker client talks to the Docker daemon, which does the heavy lifting jobs like building, running, and distributing your Docker containers. The Docker client and the Docker daemon communicate using the REST API, which is done over the Unix sockets or a network interface.